Hey guys and girls, a quick update before the video even begins. In our efforts to be as clear and direct with you as possible, we wanted to clarify a few things about this video. We're both very passionate about this topic and want to make sure you understand where we're coming from. So when we reference the Switch tax, we just mean any game that is marked up on Switch in comparison to other platforms. Some people use it to reference cartridge costs versus discs, but we're using it in the more general sense. Also, we're aware that this could be a kind of Resident Evil specific issue for Capcom, given that they have charged fairly for other ports. And lastly, Gabe, what's the price of Okami?
Speaking of other ports, Okami is $20 on the US eShop. I was reading the UK price. That's completely my fault. I moved to the UK temporarily. I'm back. $20 eShop for Okami. I know I said that wrong. Sorry.
There you go. Quick disclaimer, onto the video. The mythical Switch tax is something that hovers above the head of every Switch owner, but in some cases, it is a heck of a lot more real than others. And frankly, it's time to stop the Switch tax because it's negatively affecting the games that we'd like to play on the system, and in effect, it's negatively affecting future games that we may not get on the system.
Zach, I find myself to be in a conundrum. I love Resident Evil 4, one of my favorite games of all time, but it's going to be $30 on Switch. When I heard that it was going to be on Switch, I was so excited. I'm going to get to play one of my favorite games ever on the go. I have been playing handheld way more, by the way. I'm keeping that New Year's resolution happening so much now. So
2 months running, stuck to it. Let's go.
Man. Hey, so far so good. I haven't stopped going to the gym. Well, yes, I have stopped going to the gym, but just not the Switch gym. All right.
Hey, all that matters is the handheld Switch one. That's what I care about, baby.
Regardless. $30 for a game that's that old, that's been recently released on other platforms. Oh, man. And not only is that game $30, all the Resident Evil games are $30. The original Resident Evil 0, if you want to purchase them all digitally, $30 each. That's $90 for those 3 games. That's egregious.
Now let's give the caveat, which is that there is a physical edition for $60.
Sure.
$20 would be much more palatable, but they choose to go $30, and this sets up a scenario where, one, this was supposed to be like a really cool get for Switch in the interim months between Yoshi's Crafted World and Super Mario Maker 2, coming in May, and a nice addition to the system. I've been loving Resident Evil 2 on other platforms. Hey, let's get some RE action on Switch. $30 is just too much, and we've seen this happen before. It's just not good. There are enough Switch out there now. There are enough opportunities for sales, and we see incredible success from major corporations, tiny indie studios. This should be $20, and it would sell better, it would perform better, and it would lead to a better future for not only us, but Capcom as well.
I'm afraid that this is gonna negatively impact them in a way that they're not gonna want to bring games over to Switch so much anymore. And it's kind of funky because they've brought over Okami, and perfect, $15. Everything was good for that port. Why these are more expensive, I can only think of one reason, and it's a nefarious one. Resident Evil 4 is so great, right? They know people want this on there, so they'll know they'll pay it. So they want the extra $10. So that's the only reason I can think of. There might be other reasons. I don't care to speculate too much, but we've seen other companies do it too. Final Fantasy IX, $30 on Switch for a game that's that old.
It's a lot.
Binding of Isaac, that one I give a little bit more leeway to because it was one of the first games on Switch, and yeah they got to make up ground somehow. That was like $40 on Switch when it first...
Right, but that came out when the Switch first was being sold. We didn't know how successful it would be. We didn't know how many units would be out there. And, look, we don't know how much goes into making a Switch port. And I'm sure there is an extreme cost. And I'm sure that balance is evaluated by people with numbers as the focus of their jobs. And they are trying to make the best assessment. But I feel like the smarter choice here is to go cheaper and sell more than create this really negative vibe around your release. Because Resident Evil 4 at $20 on Switch, taking it with you is great. Resident Evil at $30, it feels bad, man, because other consoles are giving you far newer games for free every month.
Yeah. Now,
it's fine that Switch doesn't do that right now. Their online is cheap. But to have to dig deep, we don't get a lot of great AAA third-party games on Switch. Just facts. So when we do get something, it's really exciting. But a lot of times it is so cut in half by the fact that I feel like my legs are being swept out from under me. They're expensive. If we're gonna get this old stuff, if we don't get the new stuff, okay, come to terms with that. But then when it costs so much, it has to stop. We need these things to come in at an appropriate price point, so not only can we afford them and we can get them, but then these companies can see the success. Because I feel like Resident Evil 4 at $20 sits atop the eShop. I genuinely feel that's a possibility.
Yeah, at 30 it won't. I think there's people that are gonna just skip it on principle alone, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna have the willpower to do that because I do want that game. I won't purchase the other ones, like Zero and the original Resident Evil. I wasn't to get them if they're 20, but at 30 each, nah. Even with the package, right? The $60 for both of them. No, I don't care for physical stuff. I'm not a collector. I was already just gonna get them digitally, so that's not gonna be a thing for me. They're gonna lose sales. From me specifically, I'm not gonna buy those.
And we look back, and no matter the quality of the game, that price point sits. It just creates scenarios where Binding of Isaac is one of our biggest Switch regrets. Not because the game is bad. That's a great game. It's just an inappropriate price. And there may be those of you out there that are fine paying $30. It's a beloved franchise. It is the most beloved game. You know, they just charged $60 for a Resident Evil 2 remake, but they redid so much. If this was a Resident Evil 4 remake, if they were doing new things in a substantial capacity, okay. But if we're going to have to sit with old ports for our third-party meal on Switch,
Yummy meal.
to be able to consume that regularly, like, they got to be priced appropriately.
Dude, like, here's the worst part, right? We're already making concessions with Switch. The games aren't going to look as good as they look elsewhere. But now elsewhere, they're also cheaper?
It's silly. It's silly, and it really should stop. And I'm sure there are reasons. But sometimes you have to put I think the greater good and the future and the overall just mentality above. And I feel like if Capcom comes in and does a good job with these, that opens the door for them to do more, for them to do other things, and for them to be benefited, right? They can then see, wow, Resident Evil 4 doing so well, Resident Evil 0 doing so well. It's a fine line, because $10 at the end of the day, at the end of the year, it's not a ton of money. I don't think you'd miss it one way or the other. But when you look and you say, Final Fantasy IX, it's $30 on Switch. Yeah, you can take it on the go. Yeah, the Switch is so cool. Yeah, it's our favorite console. But why are we punished for being supporters and players on this super cool platform? That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, I'm honestly sort of ticked off at Capcom because unless I'm given a reason otherwise, I fully think it's because they know that Resident Evil has such a rabid fan base. Like, they have a loyal fan base. They're there for that series, and especially these games. Maybe not so much Zero. Zero's not great, but the original and 4, especially 4, they know people are clamoring for it. Like, they know people are gonna purchase. So it's almost like nefarious. Like, I don't like it.
Let's talk a little about Nintendo and their Switch tax. I think it would be unfair to not include them in this discussion. They've done similar in their re-releases of games. The difference, I feel, and it's still not great. It's still not a great feeling to pay $60 for Tropical Freeze when I paid $50 before. It's still not great. It's still not great at all. But one, the games are far newer, and two, they are still games that came out recently that Nintendo felt did not have an opportunity to see the audience or the sales that they would have liked. Resident Evil 4 has sold plenty of copies.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 2 is selling tons of copies. Resident Evil 7 sold tons of copies. Capcom ain't hurting right now. So there's no reason
neither's Nintendo.
to do this to us.
Neither's
okay, Nintendo is not. But there are some explanations, and they do have a precedent to set in terms of how they want to keep their first-party lineup, and they want you to consider those ports as part of their first-party lineup. There's just a lot that goes into it, and who knows what Capcom's plans are, the standards they have set, but they're not universal standards. At least Nintendo is consistent. Capcom is charging less for this elsewhere, and they have. Even when the games were technically fresher. Even when the games technically looked better. Even when the games were on other platforms that were performing in the same ballpark. Like, Switch is doing great.
Yeah.
This isn't a case of like, oh gosh, we're putting it on the Ouya, and so we got to charge a lot to hopefully get, 58 sales.
Blast from the past with the Ouya. Did you ever own one? You did, didn't you?
No, I did not.
You never had an Ouya?
I've owned a lot, but I have not owned an Ouya.
Okay. Yeah, regardless, the Switch tax needs to go away. Do you think there's any chance, I know the answer is no, in my head, any chance that they course correct and lower the price?
No.
Okay.
The better question, though, Gabe, is there any chance that this is course corrected ever?
No. Well, I mean, they'll be on sale. Like, we see Okami on sale and things like that. Like,
I mean, Switch tax. Is the Switch tax something that we are going to be burdened with
through
the life cycle?
In just a couple days, we're going to be officially in year 3 of Switch. I didn't think that in year 3 of Switch we would be dealing with this, honestly.
But we are.
Yeah.
So does it ever go away?
No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, no. I think the Switch tax is here to stay. We're seeing it less, at least. We're seeing some parity. Yeah, it's just not a good situation.
It really is time to stop, though. And if we're going to get more and more games from a generation or 2 generations or 3 generations ago, come at a reasonable price point. Because I'm hyped about something that I loved back in the day at 10 or 20. But when I know that I can get a couple of really great brand new indie games for the same price as this old title that I may not even finish, and it's not the best version?
Dude, make no mistake, you are not finishing Resident Evil 4. You're not.
It's a pretty long game.
Yeah, you're not. You might not even play it. Like, I know you don't.
Well, I feel like players aren't going to finish the Final Fantasies that are priced egregiously too. But like the allure of having Final Fantasy on your Switch is too great. Those will still sell. But I genuinely feel like they sell more at a better price point.
Yeah. The thing is, these are the PC ports. I'm not talking about Capcom, I'm talking about Final Fantasy. Like, some of the exact same issues that are in the Steam versions of the games are in the Switch version. So they're not spending a ton with, like, the port over. Like, I'm sure there's still development that goes into it to make it run on Switch, but all the work is, like, done. So then, with Final Fantasy 9 specifically, to charge more, again, just because you know the game's beloved and people are going to get it. It's fishy, it's not right.
And I do think there is a Switch development cost that is baked in. I really do. But I don't know. I don't know how much they play Switch over there at the business and finance department of Capcom, but we play Switch every day. We talk to you who play Switch every day. And I feel confidently that at $20, that game would shoot up the chart.
Yeah. Are you buying it at 30? Are you, like, buying it at 30? You know, who knows if we get review code?
I really want to have it. I really want to play it. I just... See, and this is where they sucker you, because it's in May. What else are we gonna have?
That's a fair point, dude.
They sucker you because they smartly release these things. There's not a lot going on, and they can then push that tax. And I don't know that they're always doing that, because who knows what Nintendo's release schedule is like? Who knows what else comes out? You know, we do have, Mortal Kombat 11 will be out soon. I just feel like it's starting to become a crime that, okay, we're not gonna get a lot. Okay, we're gonna get old stuff. Okay, it's going to be overpriced old stuff.
All right, for now, Capcom's in jail. It is a crime. Capcom is in Switch jail for me right now, man. Come on, man. Fix this, Capcom. What are you doing? $10? That's what y'all are being this... Like, that's what you're doing this for $10?
And I guess we could say the same thing about us. $10, but... Man,
it's the principle, Zach. You know how big I am on principle.
It feels wrong when other people get it for a lesser price.
Yeah. Dude, I was thinking about that earlier. You touched on it. Thank you for reminding me. I was like, dude, if a game goes on sale somewhere, it doesn't matter where, whether it be GameStop, whether it be just online only, it should unanimously go on sale everywhere the game's available on every single platform. Like, I'm tired of seeing, like, oh, you can go get this game here cheaper, but only if it's on this platform. Like, no, if it's on sale somewhere, put it on sale everywhere. Like, stop. This is silly.
We need a new universal sale law. New games universal sale law.
I'm gonna start writing it. So when I become president, I'm on it.
Please draft that up, man. There are so many candidates. So it wouldn't be a surprise if you entered the fray.
What's one more? I'm doing it.
What do you think about the Switch tax? Does it irritate you as much as it irritates us? And is it time to stop? Do you think it ever will stop? Give us your take in the comments down below. Gabe, you're buying Resident Evil 4 at 30.
That one, yeah. They're getting me. Next time when I'm at E3, I'm gonna go up to the Capcom booth and be like, "Hey, you, give me $10, Capcom, man."
We're part of the problem, though. I don't like being part of the problem.
I can't not be part of the problem. Yeah.
It's a really good game. This is the brain burner that they probably know we're gonna have.
Yeah, they know. They know what they're doing.
Gosh darn it.
Darn it. I'm falling for it. I'm sorry. At least with Resident Evil 4. Yeah. That's like one of the only games that they'll get me to do it with. Except I did buy 9, but I shouldn't have.
They're gonna hear this. They're gonna say, "Man, we should have charged 40."
Oh no.
We would get that Gabe goof for 40.
Just me. It's only 40 for me. It's 20 for everyone else.
Resident Evil 2 I saw it for 45 today. That's a shame.
The remake?
Yeah.
How, dude? It sold millions of copies. How? Like,
I know, but PS4 and Xbox One games, they go on sale super fast nowadays. We're just not used to it because we don't get sales very often on Switch. Although I will say Nintendo's been better. Like the fact that like Tennis Aces and even like Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart have been in sale frequently is really something. But
what? Did you saw? Wait, Resident Evil 2 the remake?
I'll show you when the video's done. Let's close this off first. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll let you know about that. Resident Evil 4 is coming for 30. Let us know you're taking the comments down below. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. For myself and Gabe, SwitchForce out.